Hello dear students, welcome to English class. Today we will do the rest part of the chapter My Childhood from your book Beehive. Up to this part we have read about the childhood of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Azad, which he has described in his autobiography Wings on Fire, and we have come to know that he had inherited many good qualities from his parents. Also, his parents believed in the equality of religions. They equally respected the Hindu religion as they were from Muslim religion. Same was inherited by Abdul Kalam Azad. One day when I was in 5th standard at the Rameshwaram Elementary School, One day when I was in 5th standard at the Rameshwaram Elementary School, a new teacher came to our class. I used to wear a cap which marked me as a Muslim, and I always sat in the front row next to Ramananda Shastri, who wore the sacred thread. The new teacher could not stomach a Hindu priest's son sitting with the Muslim boy. In accordance with our social ranking, as the new teacher saw it, I was asked to go and sit on the back bench. I felt very sad, and so did Ramananda Sastri. He looked utterly downcast as I shifted to my seat in the last row. The image of him weeping when I shifted to the last row left a lasting impression on me. So, in this passage, it has been told that when Kalam was in 5th standard in his elementary school, the new teacher came there. He identified Kalam as Muslim because he had worn a cap on his head, and on besides him Ramananda Shastri was sitting because he was a Hindu Brahman boy, as he had worn a sacred thread. The teacher could not digest, could not tolerate a Hindu boy sitting with a Muslim boy. So he called Kalam to him and asked him to get up from the first seat and go to the last seat of the bench. Kalam did not oppose the teacher, he but he felt very sad, and his friend also felt same. He looked utterly downcast because he had to shift his seat in the last row. And Ramananda Shastri's face expression, sad expression, made him weep also. After school, we went home and told our respective parents about the incident. Lakshmana Shastri summoned the teacher and, in our presence, told the teacher that he should not spread the poison of social inequality and communal intolerance in the minds of innocent children. He bluntly asked the teacher to either apologize or quit the school and the island. Not only did the teacher regret his behavior, but the strong sense of conviction Lakshmana Shastri conveyed ultimately reformed this young teacher. So in the school, both of the students did not say anything to the teacher, but after the school, both of them went home and told their respective parents about that incident. Lakshmana Shastri, who was the highest priest of the village, instantly called the teacher. In the presence of Abdul Kalam Azad and Abdul Kalam Azad and Ramananda Shastri both. In the presence of Azad and Shastri, he strictly told the teacher that he should not spread the poison of social inequality among the innocent children, and he warned him to either apologize or quit the school or even the island. Then the teacher understood the whole thing, and not only he felt the regret, but his strong sense of conviction Lakshmana Shastri conveyed him ultimately reformed. So the strong conviction of Lakshmana Shastri reformed the thinking of the teacher too. On the whole, the small society of Rameshwaram was very rigid in terms of the segregation of different social groups. However, my science teacher Shiva Subramanya Iyer, though an orthodox Brahmin with a very conservative wife, was something of a rebel. He did the best to break social barriers so that people from varying backgrounds could mingle easily. He used to spend hours with me and would say, Kalam, I want you to develop so that you are on par with the highly educated people of the big cities. So, in this stanza, the writer, Mr. Azad, wants to say that his society was small because the small village was there where he lived, but they were very rigid for the segregation of different social groups, for the maintenance of different social groups. All of the people lived together with love and brotherhood. But the science teacher, who was an orthodox, who belonged to an orthodox family, Brahman family, his wife was very much conservative. She was uh, not, she did not like the people of other religion, and it was something like of a rebel, means opposition. He did his best, the teacher did his best to break the social barriers so that the people from different backgrounds could mingle, could mix with each other. Therefore, he used to spend hours with Azad and usually said to him, Kalam, I want you to develop so that he wished Kalam to develop at that height where he could go at different and distant place and could live with the people of the big cities. One day he invited me to his home for a meal. His wife was horrified at the idea of a Muslim boy being invited to dine in his ritually pure kitchen. She refused to serve in her kitchen. Siva Subramanya Iyer was not perturbed, nor did he get angry with his wife, but instead served me with his own hands and sat down beside me to eat his meal. His wife watched us from behind the kitchen door. So one day when he invited Kalam to his home for a meal, his wife got horrified because he thought that she had to serve a Muslim boy in her ritual pure kitchen. As Hindu people consider, after the worshipping place, the second pure area of the home is kitchen. So she did not want to serve Muslim boy in her kitchen. Therefore, she refused to serve him in her kitchen. But Subramanya Iyer, the teacher, did not get angry with the wife, but instead of it, he himself served Kalam in the kitchen and sat along with him to have the dinner. His wife watched everything from behind the kitchen door, and she found that there was not any difference between both of them while taking the dinner. I wondered whether she had observed any difference in the way I ate rice, drank water, or cleaned the floor after the meal. When I was leaving his house, Siva Subramanya Iyer invited me to join him for dinner again the next weekend. Observing my hesitation, he told me not to get upset and saying, once you decide to change the system, such problems have to be confronted. When I visited his house the next week, Shiva Subramanya Iyer's wife took me inside her kitchen and served me food with her own hands. So when Kalam realized that his wife was not happy when he was having the dinner in their kitchen, he felt hesitation. And when he was just to move, his teacher invited him again for the next week to have dinner. But this time he was too hesitating, and the teacher observed his hesitation and told him not to get upset, and encouraged him by saying that if one decides to change the system, such problems have to be confronted. So he accepted the invitation. But when the next week he visited to the house of the teacher, his wife, the teacher's wife, took him inside the kitchen and served him food with her own hands. So you can say that during that time, the wife was convinced that there was not any difference between religious people. All the religions are same, all the people are same. She understood whatever she was there to understand, and then the problem was solved. Then the Second World War was over and India's freedom was imminent. India's Indians will build their own India, declared Gandhiji. The whole country was filled with an unprecedented optimism. I asked my father for permission to leave Rameshwaram and study at the district headquarters in Ramananthapuram. So, after this incident, the Second World War was over, and India's freedom was fixed. It was decided. Gandhiji, who was the prominent leader at that time, he declared that Indians will build their own India. The whole country was filled with unpredictable or unshakable optimism. Kalam asked his father to give him the permission to leave Rameshwaram for further studies because he wanted to go to the district headquarters in Ramanathapuram for his further studies. Obviously, he got that permission. He told me as if thinking aloud. The father told Kalam, because he was a very good thinker, he told him that Abul, I know you have to go with you to grow. Does the seagull not fly across the sun alone and without a nest? He quoted Khalil Gibran to my hesitant mother. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts for their own inspirations. So you can say that how much philosophical the father was. He understood what was needful for the growth, and he, as a parent, would have to sacrifice his love, would have to manage his love and his care just for the welfare of his child. So I think you people have understood that the story or the childhood story of Abul Kalam Azad gives us a lot of lessons of the life. First, we should not underestimate anybody else by his physical appearance, as he himself was not very good looking, but by heart or by deed, he was a great man. Second, we should not disrespect other religions. All the religions in this world are same. We can be the follower of any, but we should respect the others as equal as we respect our own religion. Next is we we should try to remove the evil deeds from the society, and once we decide to remove the evil things from the society, we should ever ready to face the oppositions, and we should try to remove the obstacles before the way. Thank you and have a nice day.